The financial independence retire early movement, or FIRE as it's often known, preach doing almost everything yourself with the intention of saving money faster. But we on the other hand believe that outsourcing is the key to freedom, happiness and growth.
But it's not just the FIRE community that have this better to do it yourself mindset. From our experience, we'd say that most people would rather save a few quid and do soul-sucking work themselves than pay someone else.
You can't build an empire on your own, and even if you're not setting out to conquer the world, outsourcing chores will give you more time to do the things that you love. The FIRE community wish to free themselves from wage slavery, but their ambitions don't go as far as freeing themselves from mundane chores. We agree that chores are the lesser of the two evils, but they're still grim tasks that can be outsourced. Why settle with doing anything that you dislike?
In this video, we're going to look at outsourcing from both an individual and a business perspective. Should you do it yourself or pay someone else? We're going to look at the reasons to outsource, the types of outsourcing, and when to outsource. Let's check it out.
Welcome to moneyandshackled.com, the investment and finance channel and website that sets you and your finances free.
That was Andy and I'm Ben, and if you like what we say, hit the like button and click subscribe.
First, we want to give a special shout out to free trading platform Stake, who are sponsoring this video. Stake is FCA regulated, has fractional trading, and there are no FX fees when you trade across a huge range of around 3,000 US stocks, including household names Amazon, Google, Tesla, PayPal, and so many more.
The app has built-in analyst tools, including ratings and price targets, and Stake are giving away a free US stock worth up to $100 to everyone who signs up via our link.
We'll put the link to the offers page in the description below, so be sure to check that out. Now let's get into the video. No respect for time. We all know that our time on this earth is limited, and yet the vast majority of people will squander it, whilst behaving in a way that worships money as if it's a limited resource. These people are doing it all wrong. We all need to treat time as if it's precious and treat money as if it's endless.
You can't create more time, but both high street banks and central banks can and do create money at will. This is the frightening truth. People all around the world are trading their limited youthful time today for small sums of money that governments can create freely and seemingly without restrictions.
Saving pennies is a losing game. Those who do not outsource any tasks because they're trying to save a few quid are playing defensively. But you're playing a losing game and have no chance of winning when all you do is park the bus. Playing defensively doesn't work because you're not growing income at a fast enough rate.
The only way to win is by going on the attack. You need to bring in more money and convert it into wealth. That is, assets which are likely to grow in value rather than shrink.
Focus on increasing income. You need to focus on growing your income. Just as businesses are forever looking to grow profits, so should an individual.
The reason to grow income as a priority is that it will buy you more time. Most people recognise that if they build their income higher, whether that's through a side hustle, business, or even through progressing in a job, they can afford to outsource tasks, thereby freeing up time. But almost all of them say they're too busy to put in the additional work. They're not lying. Their schedules are chock-a-block. The problem is that their schedules are jam-packed full of other people's priorities and low-value tasks. So, what are the reasons to outsource?
Number one, outsource to free up time to reinvest. Outsourcing tasks will free up time so you can be more productive elsewhere. Say you spend an hour a week doing the gardening. For the sake of this video, we'll assume that this is a mundane chore that you hate. If you were to outsource the gardening to a professional, could you reinvest that spare hour each week, maybe into drafting a business plan or developing a new skill, so that it increases your income above and beyond the cost of paying someone else?
In the home, you probably have a chores list as long as your arm. In addition to the gardening, you could outsource the cleaning, the cooking, the washing up, the ironing, the food shopping, window cleaning, DIY, managing bills, and whatever else springs up. You can choose to outsource to the extreme if you wish. Many wealthy people, especially successful business owners, choose to outsource all aspects of their life.
Don't underestimate just how much time many chores swallow up. Just the other day I was thinking that I need to do Christmas shopping, but it's a pain. If only I had a personal assistant to delegate this to. Well, every successful CEO would just delegate this to his or her PA so they can focus on what matters. This leads us into reason number two. Outsource to free up time to enjoy.
The end goal is to have fun, so outsourcing tasks to free up time is another great reason to do it. As we said, Time is our most precious resource, so our actions are best spent in a way that maximises our free time.
The danger is that you set out to outsource chores with the intention to reinvest the time, but then laziness or distractions cause you to slack. We are all human after all. It might be okay to outsource to free up time to enjoy life if you are financially comfortable, but before doing so, ask yourself whether your financial position is strong enough to justify it.
Don't forget that the biggest drain on your time overall is wage servitude. So, from our point of view, the priority should be outsourcing chores to reinvest back time into a side hustle, to the point where you can at least free yourself from your job. Then you can outsource to find more time for fun.
Number 3, outsource for expertise. When it comes to expertise, such as a car mechanic or tax accounting, most people will happily pay for it. Here, the risk of doing it yourself and getting it wrong carries a cost that outweighs the cost of outsourcing, so it's a no-brainer.
Say that you're buying a house. There's a lot of expertise needed. You don't want to get this wrong, so prior to buying a house, you could go to university and study surveying, property law and banking, all of which would take years and cost you thousands and thousands of pounds. This would be ridiculous. So instead, you could just pay experts, saving you time, money and reducing risk.
Types of outsourcing. At its highest level, there are 2 types of outsourcing. You can hire people or pay for automated tools and products that do the jobs more efficiently. Hiring people is usually the type that springs to mind first. In the home, people dream about paying someone else to do their chores, and businesses often first think about expanding the workforce before considering the second type of outsourcing, paying for automation.
We suspect that this order is due to a lack of imagination. In every job we've both had, the employees would whinge that more people are needed to do the work. Rarely do they think of ways to automate a solution to the problem. In most cases, a simple tool is available that will rapidly resolve the issue for a fraction of the cost of labour. People are typically more expensive than automation and usually not as good at the job.
In the home, rather than doing the vacuuming yourself, you could hire a cleaner, but this would get very expensive over time. Alternatively, you can buy a RoboVac, which will save you a small fortune. Likewise, I would never not have a dishwasher. The time it saves is life-saving, literally, as it saves me from having to waste precious life hours washing up.
When to outsource? There are 3 trains of thought when it comes to outsourcing. The first is that you should never outsource and do everything yourself. Earlier, we alluded to the FIRE community and most of the general public who think that this is the best approach.
Why pay someone else to do it when you can do it yourself is what they tend to say. You'll find these people installing their own new kitchen, changing their own car brake pads, and when they book a holiday, they will painstakingly piece together all the parts rather than pay extra for a packaged holiday. Yeah, they'll save some money, but at the cost of their time.
The next thought process is to do everything yourself until it hurts, which certainly has its merits when it comes to the hiring of people. But if there's a piece of software, product, or an automated service that can help to avoid this pain, then we would be inclined to use that before it hurts.
The third and final idea is that you should outsource as soon as possible, as not doing so hurts business growth and you. For example, if you can outsource a task for £1,000 and it brings in £2,000, then it's a no-brainer.
We quickly worked out that we could improve the quality of these YouTube videos by using supporting footage known as B-roll. We could have shot this footage ourselves, which would have been extremely time-consuming and expensive, or we could pay for stock footage.
We didn't wait until our profits covered the expense. We knew that the sooner we improved quality, the faster our audience and profits would grow. If we had waited until it hurt, then our business would have suffered. In other words, outsource in anticipation of future growth.
When to outsource? Other considerations. Should you outsource investing? As a money channel, we felt that this particular question might be of most interest to our audience. When it comes to investing, there is multiple levels of outsourcing. You could delegate the entire process to a financial advisor. If this saves you time to reinvest elsewhere in your life, then it might make sense. You will pay for the privilege.
Likewise, you could build your own portfolio of funds or use a robo-advisor, and these are also a form of outsourcing as they do most of the work for you. The cost is negligible, however. And finally, you have individual stocks, which is the do-it-yourself approach. There's no better way to learn than doing it yourself. Picking individual stocks does carry with it a lot of risk, but equally, if you're good at it, you can make much greater profits. Investing is one area where you might benefit from taking a more hands-on approach. And if you have the skills to pick individual stocks, you can outperform the market.
Stake, our video sponsor, is one of the cheapest ways to access the world's largest stock market, the US. So if you are considering buying stocks yourself, then do check them out and grab your free stock with our link.
Is outsourcing worth the cost? If you have a patch of grass that needs cutting, but it's just a few square meters, it may mean the job is too small to be worth being outsourced. Rather than get a gardener who would charge you the same price if your garden was 10 times the size, it might make sense to eliminate the job entirely. In this case, you could lay down a lower maintenance patio and be forever free from this nagging chore.
Though it's worth considering whether you hate the chore or just the time it takes. Could you cut down your work hours at your job instead?
Question of the day, what do you outsource and why? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. On this channel we talk all about personal finance, investing and all things money. And if you want to see more great content, please click the subscribe button below.
This is moneyunshackled.com. See you next time.